Okay, hi everyone. Our names are Bianca, Justin, and Sam, and we were tasked with redesigning Lunacy's onboarding process. So our first task was to identify problems with Lunacy's onboarding, because identifying problems is a basis for any good solution. So we identified that Lunacy's onboarding currently has a poor balance. It has lack of depth, and it also exhibits very poor flow, losing users throughout the process. And from there, we dove deeper through research.
Hi, so I'm Justin. I'm going to be talking about some of the research we conducted to better identify how we can leverage Lunacy's onboarding platform for competitive success and increased retention. So some of the pros and cons that we noticed for the software as a whole are going to be listed below. Here's the market analysis that we conducted looking at other applications and their onboarding processes and what worked for them and how this could work for Lunacy as well. And here's some of the goals that we defined through our research. And then I'll hand it off to Sam to talk about our final concept.
Okay, so we had these goals that we came up with through research, and so we decided upon this final concept. So the original onboarding of Lunacy was a tutorial file that just opened when the user first launched Lunacy. We decided to revamp this and have onboarding in two parts, where we have a welcome screen on the first program load, similar to what you would see on a mobile app. And second, we would have a short and straightforward tour that would not give too much help, but just the right amount of help that the user needed upon the user's first new document creation. So we have the first part, which is the welcome screen, which would give a top-level overview of what Lunacy is able to do, giving the user a quick summary of why Lunacy is useful to them. And also a short questionnaire about design at the end of that welcome screen helps the user get the sense of what Lunacy was designed to do, and also helps to personalize the tour in part two. So you can see here, this is the prototype. We have a desktop, and on launch, the user will receive the small screen with a few slides about why Lunacy is important. We talk about a lot of important things, what makes Lunacy stands out, like its full compatibility with sketch files, and the fact that it's developer supported by a small team, free, and many of the features that Lunacy lists on their landing page currently that isn't listed in their current onboarding process. At the end, we have a little survey that asks the user their experience with design tools and what they plan on making with Lunacy. This is pretty useful for Lunacy and Icons 8 to be able to gather data on their users, but it's also important because when the user tells the program how much experience they have, how much experience the user has with design tools, the tour will be personalized to make sure that we're not going to hold the user's hands too much if they're experienced already. So when we click Start Creating, we're taken to Lunacy's dashboard. This is the current live dashboard that is not a part of the onboarding process. We decided to include it because we realized that users who downloaded Lunacy and other vector graphics editors typically did so because they wanted to create something almost immediately and they had a project in mind. So with that, we're going on to the new document tour, which based on the user's response to the questionnaire, the user will receive a very seamless, kind of integrated into the workflow of the new document tutorial/tour that would give them just the right amount of help. So familiar and experienced users will be walked through the top level organization of the interface, about less than 2 minutes. And the new users will get a more detailed walkthrough with explanations of important tools and features that they might otherwise not know about. So when we click the desktop, we're taken to an almost blank page with a few objects on the page, just so the user can understand the hierarchy of where things are. So the user is going to be taken through a series of kind of static slides that highlight and point out the locations of important tools that the user needs to know about and should be familiar with if you use other graphics editors tools. And make sure to include important things like the Icons 8 library that is unique to Lunacy and that makes it stand out, and important integrations like the Sketch Cloud feature that Lunacy has. And while this is not an exhaustive list of everything that the user would see, we want to make sure that this is top level organization only, does not hold the user's hand or kind of suffocate them with information. And we also make sure to reiterate at the end of the tour that the tour is accessible again from the help section if they need it, and that additional help can be achieved through looking at the tutorial or looking at the documentation online. So this way the user clicks end tour and he's immediately able to start creating and working on things once he's familiarized with the workspace. So the value proposition is the first thing the users see through the welcome screen. And we make sure that the user is guided and encouraged to create as soon as the welcome screen ends. And we make sure that the help and the tutorial that users often complain about is not too smothering and provides just the right amount of help the user needs to get started and get working efficiently.
So we also wanted to personally reflect on this project as well. We do realize going forward, we would have to perform user testing and perform further iterations to make sure we have as sound of the product as we can. And for us, we also just learned that sometimes products are just marketed poorly. For instance, Lunacy is actually really cool. Some of its features are actually really cool. And that we do really want to address that attention span in terms of retaining potential users in the future. We would really like to thank Icons 8, Lunacy, as well as UX Result for giving us this opportunity. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.